What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex. In this video, I want to talk about why everyone hates Marvel's Avengers. So I want to kind of give my thoughts, my impressions, and also what I've seen from the internet on Marvel's Avengers. This is a game that obviously was teased 2 years ago back at E3, and I think got so many people, including myself. I mean, I was really looking forward to this game. I had said going into this E3 that, firstly, I believe that a surprise announcement from another studio could be the biggest thing at this E3 because there's really not a lot there. But another main thing, and the biggest thing that probably could steal E3, was Marvel's Avengers, which obviously got the name change, and we got leaks as to what this game was going to be leading into E3. Well, obviously we saw it, right? And the impression from the internet, from what we saw, was not good. And I have to echo those statements from what we saw, and it's not even. Here's the thing. Here's the biggest problem, and this is really what gaming has evolved into in this part of 2019 because of all the mistakes that so many other game publishers, game developers have made leading up, is the words that the developers were saying, the interviews, and what was coming out of their mouths were terrifying. They really made it sound much worse than even what it looked. Now, the game itself, in terms of how it looks, I mean, I know a lot of people have problems with how they did the costumes, with how they did how the characters actually look. And I do agree. I mean, a lot of people are very upset at that. And they were even asked, the developers were asked about, if we would get, actual like Avengers, like say Robert Downey Jr., his costume. And they even said, like, we're not talking about that. And they talked about skins being a thing that they're going to be putting into this game later. So it stands to reason that they probably are going to introduce more movie kind of tie-in skins, but you'll have to pay to get them. And that's the biggest problem with this game. Sure, the game, I mean, visually, the characters, it does not match up to Insomniac's Spider-Man, and that's a huge problem. The gameplay itself seems okay. From all those snippets we saw of the gameplay, seems fine. I mean, it doesn't look amazing, but it doesn't look bad. I think I would enjoy playing this game. Again, though, the biggest problem, and what really frightened me, and what a lot of people on the internet are talking about, is everything said by the developers. The fact that this is a live service game. Fantastic, right? Not like we have too many of those out right now, or not that those games normally fail because people are tired of them, or they just do them wrong. And the way they seem to be doing this one, or the way they're talking about it, where they're going to introduce new characters and new levels, yeah, that's great. I would love to play new characters, new levels, but what's it going to cost? The fact that you have to play the characters that they tell you have to play during the story mode, the fact that in co-op you can't play the same character, that does make sense, but say two people want to play Iron Man, well, you can't do that. They talked about the balancing, but just so much of what they were talking about, especially with this game being the live service, and they said there's not going to be loot boxes. I mean, yay, right? But overall, the fact that they're going to be constantly giving us new content, it's like, well, is that content not part of the base game for a reason? How much grinding is there going to be? And they talked about skins, and again, I'll go back to the skins thing. That really scares me because we saw what Anthem did. Remember what Anthem did with the skins, how you could buy it with in-game currency, but it would take you hundreds of hours to grind that amount. What if it's the same here? If I want to play a certain kind of skin of a character, and that's the way they're charging, because they're not charging for the added stuff, right? They said that the characters and maps are going to be free, so they need to make their money elsewhere, and they even admitted that. And I guess that's kind of refreshing because at least they're saying, like, hey, we'll give you free stuff, we'll give you free major stuff, but we do need to make money, so we're going to charge you somewhere else. I guess that's refreshing that we at least have them admit that, but at the same time, that's terrible. You know where they get the money from? It's from people dropping the $60 to buy the base game. When has it been okay to give us content and say, well, we need to make our money somewhere else, so we're going to charge you for cosmetics? But we bought the full game. We paid $60. I paid the money to buy the full game, and I guess we're getting extra. So I mean, you can kind of justify with that. We bought the base game. That's what they sold us on. And then if they give us extra stuff, well, they need to make extra money to give us extra stuff. At the same time, we will be the judge. The gamers will be the judge if that extra content, quote unquote, is worth it, or did they take that away from the actual base game? It's gonna be very interesting. I do like that we got a release date. I like that it's in May. I mean, it seems pretty. I like that it's close. It's within 11 months, so we're gonna get it within 12 months of its announced release date, as long as it doesn't get delayed. And I don't really think it will. It doesn't really look like a game that can get delayed. Right now, the talk around this game is that in terms of how the game looks and everything that has to do with the gameplay and playing the game, it's average. It's mediocre. The character models look bad. All the way they dress looks bad. And in terms of fighting, I mean, I guess that looks okay. I wouldn't say the gameplay of this game looks amazing. In terms of, the characters that you get to play, not all that many, and the story does seem interesting. I like that. I think it will lead into Thanos, so that'll be cool. But again, are we just retreading the same waters? Storytelling, we'll have to see. But graphically, not good. Gameplay wise, average. And then all the talk behind it of the additional content and cosmetics and paying for these additional things, very, very scary, and just I think not the positivity that you want behind this game. We come out of E3 with it basically being a joke. I mean, E3 was a joke, and I'm going to be talking about that in another video. Just, I think this game definitely did have the potential to completely steal all of E3. It really did. Obviously it had the potential to steal Square Enix's conference, but also the potential to steal the whole thing. And I don't know why they're going this direction with the additional content and all this stuff. It's Square Enix. They're not really, Final Fantasy, they had the DLC where they had kind of like the character, like campaigns there, but they're not really ones to do stuff like this with live services. And then you look at the development teams, Crystal Dynamics, makers of Tomb Raider, and also Deus Ex's makers too. They helped Eidos Montreal. I can see the mediocrity there, honestly, and I don't want to pick on them. I don't like to pick on developers, but you look at those two games and you look at where they've gone. I'm a huge fan of Deus Ex. I love Deus Ex, and I honestly think that this game looks like Deus Ex, and I bet you it'll feel a lot like it, but have the more action-oriented of a Tomb Raider game. I think the Deus Ex parts of this game are going to be, like, whatever that studio brought in, that's going to be the best part. Crystal Dynamics, I've never thought these Tomb Raider games were good. I made tons of videos talking about the last Tomb Raider game, that I think it's sort of hugely average in terms of what they're doing. I think those two development teams are not the greatest two teams you can possibly pick for this, and then putting them together, you get this weird live service game. And I don't know if they're going to be able to survive this, because, and I'm not saying their studio is going to close down, but Marvel hands out these properties, and I think Marvel would tell Square Enix, or if they gave them to Square Enix to give to whoever they wanted, if you're Marvel, you have to say, hey, this is not what we expected from our Avengers game. This is their main game. Spider-Man is most likely going to turn out better than this game. And this is their Avengers game. It needs to be good. And if it ends up being a huge flop and it sucks, then they're going to have to look at it and be like, what? And then especially if within a year, say Rocksteady comes out with a Justice League game and it's a lot like Batman Arkham and it's amazing, well, that looks terrible on Marvel's gaming side. So you really have to think about all these things. But guys, let me know in the comments below, what did you think of Marvel's Avengers? I mean, I've seen from the internet, a lot of people hate it, but maybe not everybody does. Did you guys like it? Let me know. Make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel, Podcast Now. Hit that bell icon so you guys know when these videos go up. And for the rest of this week and into next week, I'll be talking about the games that were released in E3, and I also want to talk about E3 in general. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you on the next video.